Now to developing news on the airstrikes on Syria. President Trump declares it a success. The U.S., France, and the U.K. launched a joint operation against the Syrian government in the wake of last week's suspected chemical attack. ABC's Arlette Saenz has more from Washington.
Less than 12 hours after announcing strikes on Syria, President Trump took a victory lap. The president tweeted, "A perfectly executed strike last night. Could not have had a better result. Mission accomplished."
We believe that we significantly degraded their ability to produce chemical weapons.
Last night's attack, a coalition effort. The U.S., along with France and the U.K., deployed 105 weapons against 3 distinct targets. The U.S. used 3 ships, 2 B-1 bombers, and 1 submarine. This Pentagon video shows the missiles taking off.
I'd use 3 words to describe this operation: precise, overwhelming, and effective.
Video from today shows a research center in Barza reduced to rubble. The Pentagon said 2 targets near homes were also taken out. The operation came 6 days after another alleged chemical weapons attack by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Horrific images of children struggling to breathe prompted the U.S. and its allies to act.
These are not the actions of a man. They are crimes of a monster instead.
The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting and rejected a Russian resolution to condemn what Russia described as aggression by the U.S.
The time for talk ended last night.
The U.S. warned Assad more attacks are always possible.
An administration official says the U.S. has assessed that chlorine and possibly sarin were used in last week's attack. Russia and Syria say the attack is fabricated. Arlette Saenz, ABC News, Washington.
Lawyers for President Trump and his longtime personal attorney Michael Cohen will be back in court Monday. They're looking to stop federal prosecutors from accessing material they say was taken in a raid. Cohen's attorneys were in court pleading their case yesterday, but the judge delayed the hearing until Monday. She says Cohen needs to appear in person and provide a list of his clients.
There's been no finding of wrongdoing against Michael Cohen either. The president has maintained that there's been no collusion with Russia.
Prosecutors say they have set up a team to review the material before attorneys working the case can get access to it. Cohen's lawyers argue they should decide which items are protected and what should be handed over to investigators. We'll take a look at this video of a dump truck fire this morning, thanks to viewer Derek Stonebarger, who just sent in this in to us. It happened near East Bonneville and 4th Street. The driver escaped safely and no buildings were affected. Submissions are now being accepted for the 2018 Helldorado Parade, which celebrates the birthday of Las Vegas back on May 15, 1905. Organizers are looking for car clubs, floats, equestrian groups, and marching bands. There's no fee to enter, and as a bonus, high school marching bands will receive $1,000 for being in the parade, set for 10 a.m. Saturday, May 12th in downtown Las Vegas. Applications are due the 19th. Happening today, the FC Lights are back in action at Cashman Field. They'll take on the Sacramento Republic FC at 8 p.m., but a few eyebrows are being raised over a new partnership. The city's new soccer team teams up with a marijuana dispensary. We learned the partnership makes perfect sense. You might think that the first ever pro soccer team in Vegas,
from Las Vegas, by Las Vegas, for Las Vegas,
and the first 24-hour drive-through pot dispensary might not have much in common, but now there's this.
Nuwu Cannabis, proud sponsor of Las Vegas Lights.
Marking another first, Nuwu is the first ever dispensary to partner with a pro sports team in the country. Las Vegas Lights owner Brett Lashbrook says it's a partnership that started not over pot, but a shared location.
And they're 2 blocks from our stadium right here in downtown Las Vegas, and it's the same mission. We're trying to grow downtown.
Nuwu says a lot of their customers are already soccer fans.
It's a match made in heaven, you know, people can stop by here before the game, after the game.
And while the move has raised some eyebrows, Lashbrook says with marijuana being legal in Nevada, he views it just like any other business deal.
I think that there's a destigmatization that needs to go on here, and normalization of what's been voted and what's been happening here with the industry.
In fact, he says even for his own players, both the team and the league don't test for marijuana, and they can enjoy if they choose to.
And our players are proud professional athletes, and I'm very confident that they'll make the right decisions for their bodies.
Since Zappos has rights to their uniforms, you won't see Nuwu on there, but the partnership will mean ads at Cashman and community events with players at the dispensary. The first of its kind, but some say likely not the last.
You know, we're legitimate businesses that are partnering with big-time sports teams. So, yeah, I think it's great for marijuana.
A Republican senator says President Trump has promised to support legislation protecting the marijuana industry in states that have legalized the drug, including Nevada. Colorado Senator Cory Gardner says Trump made the pledge to him Wednesday. Gardner says he's been working on bipartisan legislation to prevent prosecution of people who obey marijuana laws in states like Colorado. Well, with the money Las Vegas rakes in, you might think it's expensive to live here, but that's not the case. Why a survey says it's one of the most affordable places to live. And an industry in need. Hospitals are offering thousands of dollars and all kinds of support to reel in nurses. What's behind those big bonuses? And count on Chopper 13 to bring you breaking news fast and first. Stay with us. Welcome back. A teenager in Cincinnati was begging 911 operators to send help after he got trapped inside a minivan, but help didn't come for hours, and by then the 16-year-old had already suffocated. As Polo Sandoval reports, police are now investigating what went wrong in their response.
A coroner's findings show Kyle Plush died of asphyxia due to chest compression. The Cincinnati 16-year-old boy was reportedly pinned by a third-row seat of this minivan while retrieving his tennis gear. Stuck, alone, and unable to reach his phone, Kyle used voice commands to dial 911. "Where are you?" asked a dispatcher during the first call. "I can't hear you," yells Kyle. "I'm in desperate need of help." The dispatcher tries getting Kyle's location. "What is the address?" she asks. Kyle's response, "If you don't send help, I'm gonna die soon." Minutes later, a second 911 call from Kyle. "This is not a joke," he insisted. "I'm trapped inside a gold Honda Odyssey van." Before the call ends, Kyle tells the operator, "I probably don't have much time left. Tell my mom I love her if I die." Police stopped their search after 11 minutes. Investigators say it was Kyle's father who used a phone locating app to track down the van. Around 9 p.m., 911 dispatchers received a call that Kyle had been found nearly 6 hours after his calls for help. But by then, it was too late.
This young man was crying out for help. We weren't able to get that information to the officers on the scene, and we need to find out why.
City Mayor John Cranley says management, supervision, and technology problems had already been reported at their 911 center prior to this incident. In a portion of a statement, the mayor writes, This tragedy may ultimately suggest the problems have not been resolved or that not enough changes have been made. We owe the Plush family and the public a detailed and comprehensive explanation of everything that has been done, recommendations made, and actions taken at the 911 center. The operator who took Kyle's second call remains off the job as police look into how the calls were handled. Police Chief Elliot Isaac says his department owes a grieving family some answers.
Something went wrong here, and we need to find out why we weren't able to provide that help that we hoped we could have.
That was Polo Sandoval reporting. Investigators are looking into possible user error or equipment malfunction. Honda says there have not been any seat-related recalls for the 2004 Odyssey. The company also says it cannot determine what went wrong based on the information it has so far. Well, in the South, thousands are assessing the damage left behind by severe weather. In Meridian, Mississippi, at least one person is dead after a possible tornado came through. Storms hit the area this morning, tearing the roof off of this apartment building. Trees were knocked onto homes and power lines were torn down. Many credit card users are not required to sign when they swipe anymore. Starting today, Visa will stop requiring merchants to collect customers' signatures during transactions. American Express, Discover, and MasterCard scrapped the practice yesterday. One expert says that signatures are not considered a real deterrent to fraud anymore. That's partly because most people don't sign their full name, but some merchants will still require you to sign because that's built into their credit card processing systems. Zillow wants to get into the house flipping business in Las Vegas. Bloomberg reports the company plans to start buying homes directly from sellers to test its ability to make money by flipping real estate. Zillow is also doing the same thing in Phoenix. Well, Las Vegas is one of the most affordable cities to live in. That's according to Forbes. The company listed 13 cities where people can live comfortably on less than $60,000 a year. Las Vegas comes in 6th. In 5th place is Tucson, Arizona. And the number 1 place is El Paso, Texas. 13 Action News is teaming up with Nevada Job Connect to let you know about employment opportunities around the valley. There's an opening for an outside sales engineer for the boiler division. Also, an opening for a social advertising coordinator and an opening for a customer service representative. Pay starts at $17 an hour. For more information on these jobs and other openings around the valley, just go to ktnv.com/jobs. Well, when we talk about signing bonuses and recruiting, we usually think about top-paid professional athletes. Well, now you can add nurses to that list. Hospitals around the country are facing a shortage of nurses, and as Kumasi Aaron found, they're stepping up the incentives to fill the jobs.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. On the day she heads into the operating room.
My name's Christina. I'm going to be one of the nurses in the OR with you today.
This patient isn't the only one happy. Nurse Christina Prado is here.
How are you doing this morning? I'm doing well. Yeah. You warm enough?
Her hospital is too.
Have you ever had surgery before?
After all, they gave her a $10,000 signing bonus as an incentive to take the job. What did you think when they said that number?
I was shocked, actually, because the other offers before that hadn't even come close.
Christina needed to find a job where her husband was being relocated. And with several offers on the table, in the end, it was this hospital's signing bonus and other perks that sealed the deal.
They offered all sorts of help to help move here. They offered someone to actually help me find a neighborhood to live in, which was awesome. None of the other hospitals actually offered to do that.
What's behind the big bonuses? A shortage of nurses. With more than 500,000 seasoned registered nurses expected to retire by 2022, there's a projected need for 1.1 million new nurses to avoid a shortage. Hospitals across the country, including Christina's, are already feeling that crunch.
So just how bad is the need for nurses right now?
Well, I'll tell you what, we have about 300 positions open.
Kathy Howell says growth has created a greater demand for nurses, and a good economy means more nurses are opting to retire. That's why there's a concerted effort to make the offer to work at their hospital system as attractive as possible, even allowing out-of-state nurses to try out the hospital for a year and covering their housing costs.
So they go assignment to assignment within our health system. We also give them a housing stipend, and we usually convert between 35 and 40% of them to full-time employees.
Most new nurse hires get around $5,000 to sign, which Howell doesn't think is out of line.
When you look at what turnover of nurses cost and what not having the right nursing complement is to your hospital, that is a very reasonable investment.
We're going to get you nice warm blankets. get you comfy on the bed.
Ultimately, Howell says it's about delivering the right care to patients and creating the right environment for the nurses they hire.
The family aspect of it, it's a real camaraderie. Everyone is super, super nice. You really have a say in what you're doing here. Your opinion actually matters. You don't feel like a number.
A new way to fill the need for nurses.
Thanks.
With the payoff multifold. I'm Kumasi Aaron reporting.
Well, if you have a coworker who you get drinks with and vent or just confide in, they might actually be helping your career. It turns out work BFFs are the key to success. A Gallup poll actually found that having work friends makes you 7 times more likely to be engaged at work. Experts say it helps boost your mood and morale. You'll have an easier time dealing with things emotionally, and they'll be honest with you about your strengths and weaknesses. If you're looking for your next bestie, you don't even actually have to try that hard. Experts say you and your friend don't necessarily have to work in the same department or even the same physical office. And long hangouts after work aren't necessary either. Some chit-chat is enough to make you a better worker. The study also shows women are more likely to have a close work friend, and executives are more likely to have more work friends.
Well, before we get back to that high wind watch on Monday, let's start with a little bit of good news. It was a beautiful day. We topped out at 77 degrees, just a degree shy of the average. It's currently 76 at McCarran, Green Valley coming in at 77, and the Southern Highlands and Henderson also at 76 degrees. Very light winds. Enjoy this while you can because it is going to change within the next 24 hours. There's our next system that we're tracking up in the Pacific Northwest. That's going to take a dive in our direction, and that will be our next big wind maker as we start off the work week. Now tomorrow we're already going to see a little bit of wind. There's tonight. That's where we're starting off, 10 p.m. tonight, and you can see we're still well into the single digits. Then by tomorrow morning, still very calm. You think, all right, it's going to be calm all day. Well, not necessarily the case. Once we get to lunchtime, you see these numbers come up into the double digits. Henderson with 14-mile-per-hour winds, and Boulder City kind of teetering on that edge of breezy and low and windy. 4 o'clock hour, generally wind speeds between about 15 and 20 miles per hour, which means we could see gusts to 30, maybe 35 in some areas. The 8 o'clock hour, they do lag a little bit, and then as we head into Monday morning, they come right back up. So we're actually going to start off the work week quite windy, and that is the time the high wind watch goes into effect. I do think it will be changed to a warning by then. 19-mile-per-hour winds now, Air Force Base, but the south getting the stronger winds, but not necessarily the case later on in the day. Between 1 o'clock and about 4 or 5 p.m., that's when we're expecting the strongest gusts. So let's talk gusts. For tomorrow, as I said, about 30 to 35, so upper and breezy, low and windy is kind of where we'll be. Then Monday, there's our big day and your first alert, 55-mile-per-hour gusts. Again, we're expecting those between about 1 and 5 p.m. On Tuesday, on the back end of the system, makes an exit still in the breezy category, and by Wednesday, we'll get 25-mile-per-hour gusts in the afternoon. That will be ahead of already the next big wind maker. Needless to say, with the winds and the warm, relatively warm temperatures, we are going to remain very high on that pollen count. Overnight, just under 60 for most of the valley, although we do have some mid-50s. Boulder City, Anthem, Summerlin, all in the mid-50s, and Enterprise at 57 degrees down there in the southwest. Tomorrow, very nice temperatures, mid-80s, 85 in Henderson, Boulder City. Summerlin, however, a little bit cooler at 79, and Enterprise at 74. If you're going to be outside for tomorrow, it's going to be a nice day, but do keep this in mind if you're going to do any hiking, any boating. This could make it a little bit dangerous there out in Lake Mead. So if you're going to do anything, first part of the day will be ideal. There's your 13 First Alert 7-day planner, and our next big system starts to roll in late Sunday, but comes in on Monday. We'll be in the breezy category on Tuesday as it starts to make an exit. Notice the cool down will stay in the 70s, will come down to the 70s rather. We start to try to warm up Wednesday. We're kind of in between systems, but then the system really doesn't allow for a whole lot of warming, so we'll be back with our next system on Thursday, Friday, more gusty conditions. The good news is that just like it happened this past week, by the weekend it all clears out and we'll be back to lighter winds. Tom?
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Carla. Well, he was the inspiration behind the viral Ice Bucket Challenge, and years after bringing awareness to ALS, a new tool has helped him find his voice again. And don't forget to download the all-new 13 Action News app. It features live streaming, video on demand, and a handy weather radar. It's free in the App Store and in Google Play. Stay with us. You're taking a look there at the Vegas Vanguard. They're a nonprofit drumline group and currently sit with the highest score in the country. The team is now off to Winter Guard Internationals in Dayton, Ohio next week. They hosted a send-off show at UNLV today.
We're hoping to maybe steal a medal, but it just depends on how the show goes, how well we do, but I'm pretty confident.
Vegas Vanguard is a 3-time medalist. They'll perform in the prelims in Kentucky before heading on to the finals in Ohio next Friday. Good luck to them. Though the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge sent the world into a craze a few years back, the man who inspired it unfortunately lost his ability to speak due to the disease. But Richard Giakovas shows us, thanks to a new device, he's gotten his voice back.
The sound of birds chirping and the breathtaking views of the Hudson River was probably the biggest highlight in Pat Quinn's life since being diagnosed with ALS 5 years ago. That is until he could hear his own voice again.
I was blown away.
Pat's smile says it all. The Yonkers native who inspired the Ice Bucket Challenge would avoid speaking at public events or even to family once he lost his ability to speak, mostly because he didn't want to sound like a, quote, computer. But a few days ago, he was given this device by the ALS Association. It's changed his life.
It's a very tough disease, but you fight and you do what you can do.
That was Pat's voice when the Ice Bucket Challenge launched nearly 3 years ago. Now he's back.
I plan on getting back out there and speaking to people. I want to inspire people to live every day.
Sounding stronger than ever through a device that picks up Pat's exact voice and his inflections by matching it to speeches and interviews Pat has done over the past few years.
Whatever it takes to keep making a difference, change this disease, and hopefully inspire people along the way.
And you may be wondering, how does Pat actually control this device? Well, it's all through the motion of his eyes. And Pat's eyes have never been brighter as he keeps hope alive every day, never even giving a thought to stop this fight.
Hope is everything and it keeps me going.
A hope that is stronger than ever.
Fired up.
He already sounds like he's winning.
An amazing story there. Well, when we come back, Carla will have another look at your forecast. But right now, here's a live look outside in the valley. You're watching 13 Action News, where you get breaking news fast and first.
right, there's your 13 First Alert 7-day planner. Very nice temperatures tomorrow, but breezy to low and windy by the afternoon. You'll see the cool down with the next system. Big wind day on Monday. That's your first alert. We'll be between systems Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and then the next one rolls in, bringing back the windy conditions for the end of the work week.
And here's a look at what's coming up in tonight's primetime lineup right here on ABC at 8, The Crossing, then at 9, Station 19, at 10, 2020. Then, of course, stay with us for 13 Action News at 11. Well, that's our news for now. Stay with us. Judge Judy's coming up next. And, of course, we're always on at ktnv.com. We'll see you back here for 13 Action News live at 11. Thanks for watching, everyone.